Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of Last to First Angel Edition. More on that later. Okay, so I've got 4 cars to choose from. There's my All-American Viper, Porsche. The first 3 are quite similar. And then there's the Audi, which has quite a grip advantage, but it doesn't have as good acceleration, but the brakes are equal to the Porsche. Now, there was differences in top speed. That's not really that much of a factor at Laguna Seca. There's no really long runs, like other than the start-finish run here. So, what's this series all about? Well, it's about clean racing. How do you get from last to first without cheating? I'm known for lots of off-track cutting and all sorts of dirty driving, and I've been working on my clean driving. So there's only going to be a little bit of minor contact, incidental contact, that you let me know. I think this would be allowed in any racing series. I'm not going to do anything that I think is illegal. Now, you want to make as much progress as you can in lap 1, but you don't want to be bashing people. Like, there's a little bit of contact there. If you do a heavy bash to someone, especially if you crack your windshield, you've really hurt yourself. You've just lost top speed, acceleration, grip, and brakes. So that's going to hurt you. Now, I overdrove that corner. I did that on purpose. One thing with the bot programming is they're a little more lane sensitive in the last few years. So I overdrove that corner, and then because I know my car has good acceleration, I can power out. Like, check this out. This is some careful stuff. Now, I'm cutting low on the corkscrew. That could be risky. Well, it's pretty good there. Oh, a little bit of contact with the Audi. And a lot of this is knowing, where do the bots want to drive? Well, don't drive there. If you want to make a lot of progress, you can't really drive where they're driving. On the flip side, when you have passed a bot, you want to get in the race line as soon as you can to make sure they don't take you back. So there I powered out very nicely. Now, you might not know any of these names. These are my friends, TSM bots, and some of my friends are better than me. They're really good drivers. So this is not a walk in the park. If these were standard bots, totally different. And it's also more challenging because they get spaced out differently. Part of that's because there's also different colors. Now, you can see, this is really clean. This is Laguna Seca. This track is very daunting. It used to be my most hated track because I spent so much time not on the track. So here I'm doing an inside, so I'm braking a little late, and I don't mind a little bit of contact like that. This corner coming up here is critical. This is where bots make a lot of mistakes. Now, you notice I'm definitely taking 2 tires off track, more than you would do in a normal race, but it's not illegal. Some people who really nitpick that, I don't think watch enough racing, because when you watch racing, you do see guys going totally over curbs sometimes. And it just depends. Like, there was a nice green extension on that curb. Anyhow, I am really, a little bit of contact there I didn't want to have. So this gets really tricky as I get further up here. You can tell it's all Audis, and these are good racers. Now, an interesting thing that happens in longer races is sometimes the leaders get held up by lapped traffic. And the bot programming, they're very bad at getting around lapped traffic. Something you may not know is that just because a bot has your name on it doesn't mean it's racing like you. It absolutely is not. It's racing purely like an AI, like a bot, but adjusted a little bit to match your time, but it definitely doesn't match your time. The only time you see an actual run in this game is time trials or online multiplayer. That's another great place for it. That's when you see an actual run. Other than that, you're not seeing an actual run. Okay, so let's get a little bit here into well, you can see what I'm doing with the braking. Like, I'm always going to provide a screen here where you can see my brakes. Bear in mind that I preload my brakes, which might cause some confusion. Preloading the brakes, that means I've got my accelerator on, then I've got the brakes on at the same time. Ooh, that was late braking. I'm overdriving this a little bit. I've got to catch this leader. I got 1 lap left, and I mean, this is getting stressful. So as I reach the braking point, the millisecond I let go of that accelerator, I've got my brakes. So it helps me to nail a braking point. It also helps me in handling my cell phone better. So I'm not having to release and then press. That's a little bit too much movement. That could cause me to lose traction in a corner. So preloading for me is really a useful feature. Ooh boy, that's a very bad place to make that mistake. I just lost all of my advantage for that run. Okay, so this is a corner that's very bad for bots. I need to maximize it. So watch this. I was pushing that as far as you could push it. Braking right around this shaded section. You got to alter it by the car, but look at that. I'm gaining. my drive out, like even though, see, he's got less acceleration, but that Audi's grip would actually make up for it. His drive out of the corner should be better. But he's just, it's a bot, so they're not maximizing it, right? Okay, I'm all over his rear bumper. I'm planning to take this wide. So I overshot it, and then I get right into the race line as quick as I can. Look at that overhead shot. It's pretty good. I'm a little bit out of the race line. Oh, nuts. I better watch this. He might try to pass me. I shut the door on him. One thing, if you're in the lead and you make a bit of contact with the car behind you, they'll get on the brakes. So you can maintain your lead that way. So I'm forcing him to pass me cleanly. Anyway, there we go, guys. I hope that helps you in learning this track in a more slippery average car. Please like, please subscribe. I plan to do more of these, and we might actually see some of the Devil Edition as well. I'll get into that at a later date. Here you can see my lap times versus the other guys. Thank you. Bye-bye now.